Okay, I just thought I'd do a quick video here. I am kind of stupid. The gun is fully taken apart because I didn't want to show my lack of skill taking it apart. I was able to get the mag pull CTR stock off because you got to pull this pin down. It was something that I should have figured out how to do to start with, and yeah, I just had to adjust the camera a little bit. The tools you need to take this gun apart, starting with just your hand, get the CTR stock off. You will need a screwdriver to break the original pin loose that goes into the end of the buffer tube. Okay, I got it out, started loose with that, then I used a Phillips screwdriver to get it out the rest of the way. Once the Phillips screwdriver was loose, I got the Phillips screwdriver loose, I was able to take a pair of pliers and put into the holes. I don't know if you can actually see that there. There's two holes similar to like a sniper end of a cylinder that you can turn with. There are tools to do that for a sniper cylinder, so I guess you could do it with this too. Took that out, and that is the end piece that pushes in on the spring guide for the spring and goes into this little pusher thing. Now this spring here is a 3.8, it's shooting 375 to 380 in the gun. I don't really think you need to shoot any better with that. Plus the spring is released when you go to semi anyway. Okay, next thing was the pin come out of the lower receiver. It had an Allen on this side. Okay, I'm all for Allens and everything like that, but a lot of people won't have an Allen tool to take it out. You might want to think about a Phillips screwdriver or a Phillips in that, or even maybe something like this, which they just come out with. It's a quick release pin. You put it into the gun and you're able to like flip it out real quick. Once it you go in, you flip it down, it tightens up, and you pull it back up and pull it out. It's a quick release pin. Doesn't fit all guns, and you might have to do some modding to get it to work in certain guns, but this is something you might want to think about in this gun if you're taking it apart any regular amount of time. Once you get the pin out, you can break the receiver apart, and then the gearbox with the charging handle comes all out in one piece. If you've ever seen it, it's similar to an ICS upper gearbox. Here is the Code-8 PTW right here, and this is an ICS M4 PCR 97. Similar design, a little bit longer on the Code-8 one, but similar design as far as releasing spring tension, things like that. Very modular. You can change out spring, which I did in this one, spring and a piston today, and got this shooting from 350 to 380. Inside here you just have your piston, which pulls out right here, which is a little stuck in there. There you go. Now what I'm going to do before I put this all back together, I am going to lube this up a little bit so that get some cylinder grease in there and lube this up so it gets a little better air seal. Gets a little better air seal. It might do a little bit better on the gun. Okay, once you get that apart, then your 603 barrel comes out with your metal hop-up unit. This hop-up unit, I was having problems with adjusting it because it's very stiff, which is good because once you adjust it, it stays where it is. The gun is very modular, comes apart in nothing flat once you get an idea of what you need to do. One thing I did find was the motor adjustment was out a little bit on this, so I adjusted that. I would do one change in this gun if I was doing it. The PTR stock is nice. If you have to get it to spring a lot, you want something that's a little easier to come off. That's just my opinion. Maybe some other brand. It looks nice on there though. The handguard, very nice. I like that, whatever. But you might want to think about doing a rail system on this and putting a PEQ box on here, because there's not a lot of room here for a battery. I have a Butterfly 11.1 coming. I don't have one that fits in here. All my batteries fit in my guns because I got lots of room in there. But I got a Butterfly battery here I'm going to try in this 11.1. And then I also have two thin 7.4s, which I'm going to put in series, okay, to get a 14.8. Now I talked to Claudio at Hotspot Airsoft, and he said give it a shot. I want to see what it does to the motor, what kind of FPS, how the gearbox holds up with shooting 14.8. I'm not going to go crazy with it, like doing some semi-auto, some burst modes, things like that. That actually might be something that I want to try. The only other thing that I might want to put in this, just to try it, just to see how it reacts, is put my burst wizard in this. That would give you like a 3-round burst, 5-round burst, something like that. That would actually give this a little advantageous for like doing bursts instead of a full auto. Maybe that down the road, that's a MOSFET you would want to put into something like this. Just add the MOSFET setup into this so that it shoots 3-round burst, 5-round burst, or it's settable or preset, however you want to do it. It's a nice feature. A lot of people like that. Okay, I'm going to put the gun back together, and I'm not going to film myself doing it because I'm going to fumble through it. But once I get it done, I'm going to chrono it again and see what the difference between lubing up the cylinder in here is going to make any difference on FPS. I thought I'd zoom right in on the chrono when I'm shooting this so that you can see what I'm getting. I'm going to have to bang the camera a little bit. 365, 373, 373, 371, 374, 374 again, which works out to about 15.6 rounds a second. Now, my battery, according to what it says here, is right at the limit. It's getting ready to start setting the alarm off. So what I'm going to try to do here a little bit is shoot some singles again, see what kind of FPS we get. I don't want to get, let's see, it's hard for you to see that. There you go. That's 402. Now that's wild. 373, that's more like it. 373, 371, 377, 380, 379, 378, and 380. It's actually doing a little bit better than yesterday. Let's try another full auto, see how many more BBs we got left in here. 379, 378, 376. Oh, that's actually pretty good. And just to pan out here, so I don't know if you can see, I'm shooting from inside my garage. Let's see what we can. Now, I put that right on the camera, and I think you can feel the transition of the noise when you're shooting. It's an interesting sound, to say the least. Oh, mag unwound. High caps suck. Well, looks like that's a pretty good thing. Just that's the inside, taking it apart, and I'm going to give my overview in a sec. Okay, the gun's back in here, and we're looking at it. Overall, my opinion is that with a small amount of tools, you can work on the gun like any gun. But if you're taking the spring out, pair of linen nose pliers, and a straight. Unless they change the screw in the buffer tube, this is the only two tools you need to change out that spring and switch your FPS on the go from 330 to 430 like they said. This gun seems to handle it. Now, one thing I will bring to everybody's attention, and just so I don't know if you can even see that going off there, the cells are really down. It really sucked the voltage down. They're all roughly around 3.8. There's 384, 383, 385. Okay, that's a lot of voltage to pull out down to that with just some shooting. I'd say a total of like 6 mags we put through this. But 360 rounds, 6 times 360, you can do the math. That's a lot of rounds to put through it. Still getting a little bit warm, not as warm as it was the other day. The thing that bothered me though is that if you can see this, I blew the fuse. And I didn't have any extra ones. I only had a 20 amp and I put it in there and it blew almost immediately. So I have to actually get some fuses. I would recommend at least a 25, more likely a 30 for this to run it. Also, what I'm going to be doing in the next few days is I'm going to be putting two 7.4s in series to see how the rate of fire, it will increase, but see how the gun performs, any heat from the pistol grip, from all the firing. But what the big thing that I want to see is how well these batteries will go in and how they will perform with a 14.8. There are a lot of people out there that say they run guns with 14.8 or even 22 volt LiPos, but I want to see if this mechanism in here will handle it. I'm not going to go crazy with it and go just through 100 mags and see what happens. I'll probably run 2 or 3 mags through, not all at once or maybe sporadically, just to see how it works. I will change out to a 30 amp fuse and see if that doesn't keep blowing. Right now I'm running it with 11.1 2000 mAh 2200 mAh battery, and it's running pretty well. I might switch up to a smaller style, like a buffer tube style, throw it in here, but it's only 1500 milliamps. All these batteries I am testing with this are 25C at least. So that is a good recommendation. I think he said on his site as well. All in all, it actually was pretty easy to take apart, pretty easy to clean. One little gotcha that I will mention here that you don't see on the video, well, you do see a little bit of it. When you take the CTR stock off, you take the spring out and the holder and all that, and you take the pin out, this just doesn't pop open. The spring, the piston area, I mean the piston, well yeah, the piston inside comes back a little bit because there's spring tension, or not the piston, I'm sorry, the gearbox, upper gearbox comes back a little bit because there's tension on it. That actually goes a little bit into this buffer tube area right here. So what I did is I took a small flat screwdriver like this and I put it in right, there's plenty of space, put it in there and just push in on the gearbox and the upper shell came apart. Same thing putting it back together, you got to push in a little bit on it to feed it down in there. One other thing to remember too is this is a front wired gun, so these wires snake right alongside, well on the left side, right along the edge here, and it would be real easy to crimp them in the between the upper and lower receivers. So be very careful when you're putting them in there. Other than that, that's the only gotcha I found on the gun. Recommendations: different pin in the back. I like the screw-in kinds, but not with the Allen, and a different front handguard. Either a rail type or a rail with a PEQ box. That would be my preferred method to use this gun. This way I could swap batteries out without having to kill myself getting this delta ring off. Plus, if you put a rail system on there, you make it look a little bit nicer. The PEQ box could have a laser in it, whatever you want to have on there. And this is short enough for CQB with the CTR stock sliding it in. and it's also applicable for field. So it's a general use all-around gun. So I like it, and it seems to be doing pretty good. We might be taking it with us to a field op this Saturday down at Skirmish. But I'm still up in the air on that because I am taking my SVD and I'm going into a sniper role. So having a carbine with me, I could probably switch up. And I know I can have my VN mags in this, and they will work, VN style M4 mags, and that's what fits in my sniper vest. So I might take this just to try it, run it for a couple of games to see how it performs and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'll see what kind of time constraints I have, and if I have the room in the car after the three of us get everything loaded. All in all, really good gun, and I'm gonna be doing some more testing on it with various different things, and I'll film those as well. Have a good day.